So welcome to the Spiritual White Belt podcast. Today I got my homie Peter on, man. So pumped. Peter, how you doing, man?
Fantastic today, as usual.
Life is good, right? Yeah. So tell us about yourself. Where'd you grow up?
Well, actually, I'm an Army brat, so I grew up all over the United States. I was born in Hawaii, although I don't look like it. But I didn't do a whole lot there, 0 to 5. Only bits and pieces of remembering that. But that was considered an overseas tour at that time. And actually, I was born the year that Hawaii became a state. That's how ancient I am, at 1959. So, but we moved all over the country. We didn't have to go overseas besides that. So we stayed around the United States, the continental United States, the rest of the time. But we moved around so much that it was inconceivable to me to have friends more than a year or two. Either we'd move or they'd move. So kind of a different growing up in that manner. And my father was a surgeon, cardiothoracic surgeon in the military. And so we didn't go to the hospital. It came to us, we were just any shots, any immunizations, anything that went wrong, any sutures we needed, things like that. He would just have everything there at home. So rarely did we visit a hospital because that wasn't needed very much. So I didn't know any different. So that's the norm for me. So which was fine. Mm-hmm. It was good.
Tell us about your mom.
My mother, they met in college. Both of them went to Georgetown. She's a nurse. And he's a doctor. They had 7 kids within 10 years because they were Catholic as well. So that's kind of a thing. Catholic. Yeah, good Catholic family. So there were 7 of us. And since we moved a lot, we were our own best friends. We had to be close together because we moved so much that we didn't get to know somebody else to say, oh, yeah, I knew him from grade school or her from. It was just a family, very close knit. Until it wasn't, because then we grew up and, we went our different ways. So,
got it. What were your parents like?
They were wonderful. My mother was a saint because she had to deal with moving from Hawaii to Washington State, and my father had to go first. So she had 5 kids and 6. One was her stomach. It's I think 8 months pregnant or something like that. Flying at that time, with all these kids on the airlines, which we didn't have TSA. We didn't have to worry about it. Open cockpits, of course, but there was smoking on the plane too. So it was good and bad. It's always
good old days.
Double-edged sword. So you never know, but it was fun. And I had a wonderful, wonderful childhood. My father, we were the first pew in church every Sunday. Whether we liked it or not. And of course, as kids, we rebelled. We had to go to CCD, and learn about God and everything, and as much as we could pay attention.
And what is CCD?
I don't know what it stands for. The religious classes over the weekends and things like that. After church, we would go.
Got it.
And we did the first few years of Catholic school. So I grew up 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade in Catholic school and all those wonderful things where they teach you everything. Then we moved. So I didn't have to even open a book for the next 4 or 5 years because I already knew it all. So it kind of was a detriment to me to get ahead and smart enough to grasp it all. But yet I lost all the homework, the way to study and things like that. It just didn't stick with me because then I got A's, 2nd, 3rd, 4th until 6th grade, where then it started realizing, there's a little bit more to that because my grades started going to B's and C's, and so
right.
That was a little change for me.
Yes, sir. So it sounds like your dad really tried to bring you up in the church and try to teach you what he thought was right.
Oh, yes. And he was very astute. He was a very devoted Catholic, and he got it. He got that thing. And even after years later, when we were growing up, my younger brother finally asked him, so how did you get this peace? And he said, well, out of the church. He said, you get what you want out of it. Well, that didn't teach us anything. It just said, okay, it's there, but it didn't tell us how. And I think out of the 7 kids, there's probably about 2 or 3 of us that really still believe and would possibly go to church now. A couple are atheists and others just okay, I don't want anything to do with it. It's very strange how, since you're forced to do these things, that it doesn't always hit you. And the seed was planted, I'm sure, in all of us, but sometimes it just doesn't take. It takes the extra whatever to get that.
This is something I struggle with my kids because, I'm in the music ministry at my church, and I go pretty much every Sunday. And every once in a while, I let them stay home because they don't want to go. And I don't want to cram them, beat them over the head, with it. Was it brothers or sisters who ended up being atheists? Why do you think that happened?
Well, we all had gone one funny story. We all had gone after church. They dropped us off into afterward to CCD, whatever that stands for. Probably going to be ridiculed about that. But anyway, my mother dropped us off. She's going home, and she catches us all skipping out of that, walking across the field. She's driving around because she knew for some reason that we weren't going to be able to make the whole time. So she picked us all up. We kind of got in trouble pretty much and said we had to go from that point. But it's really like everything else. You got to want it. You got to be able to say, okay, not just understand logically, but you got to want it, beyond what you're thinking and how to reason it out. Because that's where we get lost, I think, is trying to tell somebody how to do this and get it. So it's really just planting the seed and letting them flower hoping that they will grow with it and get the sunlight because then you can be the light for them.
Okay, so if I'm understanding you correctly, you have to want it. You have to be willing. This is the key.
Or you have to have something happen to you that you desire that, or you think that, yes, you believe in yourself that it exists. Right. Because everybody else can tell you unless you're shown that what you don't see is there. Because otherwise it's just, okay, I have to do this. I'm going through the motions, but nothing's sinking in. Nothing's sticking, and it goes one ear and throughout the other. And, oh yeah, I can recite the Bible. I can, say everything I need to as far as that goes, but I can't give you the light that I have unless you get it yourself. You can't give something away that you don't have, and when you get it, all you have to do is be there. And that's the best part, because you don't have to push it without trying. It's given to you just as you give it away. God gives it freely and you do the same. That's the cool part about not having to try once you have it.
Right.
So, for the rest of your life, it's not something that you have to teach. You just do. And that's hard for people, especially with kids. You just be. They're going to do what you're going to do. You smile and wave and go, okay, you're making your own mistakes. I have 2 children, 2 girls.
Yeah.
And they're 25 and 26. And the only reason, the only difference is that they get older and their problems get more expensive. That's all. Otherwise, they're the same all the way through. They'll scream and yell and kick and cry. And then you let them go and you say, okay, thanks. And they come back to you because as long as they know you're there with complete love. That's it. Pure love. Nothing more. Because I've done all I could do to raise them, and plant the seed. And all I can do now is just to keep the sunlight going. That's it.
So tell us, I know you went into the military for a while.
Yeah.
Right. Tell us what happened.
Well, I was an athlete. After 6th grade, my grades were going down. 7th and 8th grade, I was in Washington State. And we stayed there 5 years. So that was unusual for us, him being in the military, 5 years at one station. But I got to go to high school there and I was an athlete. So my grades didn't, as long as I passed, I'm doing really great because I was, getting so good at wrestling, gymnastics, football, skiing, diving, pool, anything. I was just a total athlete and it just came natural to me, which is really good. And I think that helped me later on too. And then being, getting varsity letters and being in varsity football, wrestling and everything, not even being a senior in school. And it was only 3 grades, 10, 11, and 12. So it was a huge high school. And they would always go to state. They would always go to the nationals and everything. So that was the place to, if you wanted to be noticed, that's the place. If you can get there and be one of the top people there, your life is kind of going to be pretty good. my senior year, between my junior and senior year, we moved. He got transferred over to New Jersey. So 2 cars, 7 kids, 2 adults, and a dog going up and down, seeing the Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, back and forth, up north and south, all the way across the state, all summer long, to move. It was fun and it was harrowing, yeah, but it was a great opportunity because, by the time we got over to the East Coast, we were done with everybody. Everybody was at each other's throat and we were all set. It was good and it was fine. But during that time, my brothers and sisters, younger actually, they were partying. They were drinking and smoking and doing whatever they did. We were high schoolers, and I didn't yet. And going into senior high school, I was like, it's unusual nowadays, I think, but that's all I did. They turned me on to that. Problem was, I was definitely an alcoholic before I even took my first drink. Because once I did, I had to include that in everything I did. Whether I went to football practice and went home and, I included it with going skiing and weekends or any other time that I had off. And my grades still didn't go up, didn't go down too far, but they didn't go up to the point where it was easy coasting through high school. I just,
Why do you say basically you were an alcoholic before you even took your first drink? Is it genetic? Is it what?
Yes, my father and mother, they weren't alcoholics per se, but his father wasn't, and then my grandfather and great grandfather were. They actually, my grandfather. This story is that he was working at a factory in Passaic, New Jersey, and he was going home one day, and he would stop at the bar to have a drink, and there was a fight in the bar, and they broke everything, and the bartender was so fed up with this whole thing. It was happening all the time. He said, if somebody had $100, I would sell this bar to them right now. My grandfather takes out of his pocket. It was payday. He puts the $100 on the bar. He goes around the other side and puts his apron on, and he owned a bar. They had bottles made, my last name is Heck, the bottles made of Heck. And they used to go around delivering ice and beer with the horse-drawn carriages. And my father remembers riding in those things and helping the people, just riding it. He was very young at that time. So you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen in life.
Always keep cash.
This is right. I don't think the credit card would have worked.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's hereditary. My father was put into military school, high school, because my grandfather was abusive, alcoholic, and they didn't talk about that very much at all. My father, I say he was the smartest man that I have ever known, because being a doctor and me being an alcoholic, he saw how far down I got, and so he couldn't help me, and he knew it though, because apparently he knew only God could save me from myself, and it's a disease. But not cured by a medical treatment and a psychological treatment, anything like that. And not just from going to church either. It has to be, I think, a combination of things where you have the support as well as the spirituality, because that's where after high school, I didn't even graduate. They said, okay, if there's 2 more weeks left of school, high school, and if you go to every class, then you'll pass. I said, don't bother. I quit. I got my GED and I went back to Washington State where it was good. I was an athlete and I wasn't an alcoholic back there. So that's where I went thinking, okay, but unfortunately I took myself.
Did you? And that's cure didn't work for you.
Right. Exactly. I am there. So there's I am. So I didn't know. So anyway, I did all kinds of construction because I was strong. I, a good gopher. I listened and I was smart enough to catch on to anything that I put my mind to. But after it didn't work out there, finding out that it wasn't the way to do it, I ended up back in New Jersey, with my old friends partying still. And they were all doing their own thing, but yet not advancing to a college and going off and doing their own thing. They were all still there. Unfortunately, to my demise, they were still doing that. But then I ended up not having a place to stay, and just getting worse and worse as little bit by little bit, but not knowing where I was going, not a good direction. And my father had gotten transferred to El Paso from New Jersey. So he wasn't around. My family wasn't around there either. Ended up, my brother had gone to Georgetown because he had to follow in my father's footsteps to be a doctor. Didn't get there till later on, but he was PhD. But I ended up down on his couch, living there for a little while because he was a bartender, which helped me out immensely. I could be the bouncer and he was the bartender. What a perfect scene, until he got tired of me sleeping on his couch. And then he said, okay, what do you do from here? What else do I know? But the Army my father was in. He was a full bird colonel. And so I knew how to be green, I had no prejudices, nothing. I loved everybody. And that's just me. But I went into service myself and I wanted to do good. So I became an MP, military police. And that was really pretty cool. But that still didn't change my drinking. This is seems to be all about drinking, but that's what happened to me. And I was stationed at Fort Knox.
Is the gold there or no?
Well, it's not even in Fort Knox. It's actually civilian right outside the military base.
It's all fake. It's all fake news.
I don't know about that because they guard it pretty well, so people won't find out. So you can't get close enough to see.
Okay.
So, but it was a good training and it was great duty because it's called white hat duty, where I don't go out to the field. It's just like being a cop. You get to write tickets, you do this, and do all these things, DUIs and things like that. And fortunately, I was the cop, so I didn't get caught for DUIs, although I'm sure it happened. Thank God I didn't own a car at that time. My roommates did, but it was easy to drink because they condoned it. Basically, they had beer machines in the barracks, so you could go down, grab whatever with quarters and things like that. And you learn the tricks to get 2 beers for 1, which that was always fun. But anyway, got sent to Korea from there. And it was a great time. I got to ride around all the country of South Korea, going in the coax trucks, the big tractor trailers. They used to deliver things to all the bases there. And they used to hijack them. So they had, you got to ride shotgun, MP in there to protect all the goods. And so that's all you had to do. Get up early and get into the tractor trailers and go see the country. It was wonderful. What an easy, fun time there was. I stayed a year and a half, and I even got married over there to a Korean woman who I brought back with me. It was more paperwork than ceremony as far as being married. It's just like, okay, pay this fine, stamp this here, go there and do really nothing as far as the spiritual thing. It was kind of just paperwork. Got her back in the United States and was stationed in Brooklyn and downtown, in the Verrazano. They have 2 different posts that people don't know about on each side of the Verrazano Bridge. Used to be a Verrazano, I guess. Fort Hamilton and Fort Wadsworth. And they start the marathon on one of the sides, on Fort Wadsworth side. And so I was there and I was traffic accident investigator. I was the only one. I got certified, New York State certified in breathalyzer, and that's before digital stuff. We had the ampules and you had to do it all manually. And whenever they stopped somebody for DUI, they would call me because I was the only one that was qualified. And luckily I had lights on the top of my car to get there because I was probably drunker. I usually was drunker than the people they arrested. Ironically. I mean, oh my gosh, the things that we go through, and get ourselves into. And
takes one to know one. You're like, oh yeah, that guy's drunk for sure.
Yeah, but I'm
an expert on this.
And I would test myself after I'd fill all the paperwork for them and I'd like, oh wow, too bad, dude. And then I would go home and keep, and drive on. It was just crazy. But from there, I got out and went up to New York, Albany, where my father had retired because my mother's parents lived up there. So still drinking, out of the Army, not doing the police work, but security. And then not really wanting to drink, but not being able to stop. That's when it got really bad. And I'm thinking this is like an AA prologue, but it got to the point where I just had blackouts. Go out and check your car, see if it's still there, and see if any damage is on it. All these things that are just terrible for people to get to. And, but not being able to, because people don't understand alcoholism half the time. And you just, with all your heart, want to stop and pray that you can. And there's no way, God, you just cannot do it yourself. And I have to add this because I didn't want to live anymore, because I was just so down and out, and it was crazy. I couldn't stop, and I could not. I had to drink. It was just an obsession. Looking for an AA meeting, and it was back before cell phones, before things. You look for, take a right here or a left here, go down this way, and look for this, this road sign to say, okay, there's a cow on this mini mart, and once you see that, take it right into the church. There's the AA meeting. Okay. And I'm driving around in circles, and I was just going crazy. And I thought I was driving around for, an hour and a half, probably 20 minutes or so, lost. And I threw up my hands, and not all the foxhole prayers that I said through my head all those years to say, if you help me through this hangover, I'll never drink again, and it never worked. But from here, I said, I give up. And the next place I see, I'm going to go buy as much alcohol and kill myself. It was throwing my hands up and surrendering and just giving up everything myself. And the next thing I saw was this cow on this mini mart, and I took her right into the church, into the AA meeting. It wasn't me that did that. It was the higher power. It was God. He brought me in at that instant. And from that instant, I had never wanted a drink, never had to have a drink, never needed a drink again in the rest of my life. It can only be categorized as a miracle. There's no way, because it took only that, everything I had to give up. And then he stepped in and says, yep, this is what it is. Amazingly, I didn't realize it for 8 months that I didn't have to have a drink. It didn't occur to me. I was just such a fog trying to recover from so many years of poisoning myself that when I finally realized that 8 months later is when I had the enlightenment from God. I was working out, of course, at a gym, and I was the manager of the weight room. And this woman came up to me with a little book from White Eagle. You never know where God is. He's everywhere. And I didn't know her. I didn't know if she belonged to the club or not. She says, do you meditate? I said, yeah, why? Here, I got something for you. So she goes out and comes back with this little tiny book and hands it to me. Here you go. I said, oh my God, thank you. And I just read it page by page. It's just a daily thing, very short readings while my car's warming up or whatever to go to work. And one time I'm sitting there, and it just hit me. I was taken into heaven. I was given that light that everything, I could manipulate matter. I could do whatever it was to the world. I had all control. God was there. I was with God. We're all one. There was no darkness. It was all just shadows. Everything was bright, brilliant. And, if you ever had a near-death experience where everything is so much crystal clear, the colors are so much brighter, this is even more than that. And it was that I was out of myself and seeing everything. The conundrum is that everything is the way it's supposed to be. God has already put it there. He's already made this. And to know that is the miracle itself too. And to have that, it was for a reason. Because 5 years later, I was sober, and I got bitten by a mosquito when I was in Korea. And it gave me a little parasite called filariasis. And it turns into, once it manifests and clogs your lymphatic system, it turns into elephantiasis. So I'm working out at the gym. I'm doing really well. I'm sober. My father's still alive, and he passed in 2001. I did that in 91. And I had been, now all of a sudden my ankle goes over my shoe for no reason. I met my second wife. I had divorced my first wife just because I was lost and thought I was found, and I divorced her and I found another woman, and this, just life happens. And it kept progressing. My father said, this is the only thing I can come up with. It's elephantiasis. I said, oh, okay. It took me 4 years to find a doctor who knew what this was, because you can't get it in the United States. but yet 170 million people have this in the world. And the doctors of the US don't even know about this. It's a very, very strange but cool disease that I had gotten, and it lay dormant for 13 years, this parasite. Now, once it does its damage, then it can progress. And my left calf got over 32 inches around of lymphedema. If you look up elephantiasis, it's not a fun disease.
Oh my goodness.
It's crazy. I was then remarried for a year when the onset. And then I said, well, see what marriage does to you. That's just
A little bit of something.
But it kept progressing until it got to the point, it would go into the arms, and it was very, very painful. Oh, it's so painful as it progresses. And got to the point where I couldn't walk anymore. I had two beautiful young daughters. And by the time they were 6 and 7, I was then, my meniscus tears in both knees and other things happening. And I was pretty much bedridden. I could get up for little things, but I couldn't do anything too much. And for years. And it was amazing that I still never wanted to drink. You want an excuse to drink? Be an invalid. I mean, what other excuse do you want? How far down do you want, But
What's that like? That's got to be, holy cow, just absolutely life-changing. I can't imagine the calf being like
32 inches around.
That's like,
it's a waist.
That's like somebody's waist.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Larger than that. And there's no cure. There's just maintenance. You do compression. You wrap yourself up like a mummy with these ace bandage looking things. And
wow,
every day. It's a daily thing. And it got to be so much. It was, but for me, I would go to the hospital and I would get infections. And the doctors would look at the chart saying, oh, are you in pain? I said, yes, I'm in pain, immense pain. And they would say, but you're smiling. Wait a minute. On the chart, it's crying if you're in pain. And it's kind of, you're really happy when there's no pain at all. And I was really happy. I was like, they said, well, you're smiling. Are you really? I said, yeah, you don't understand. This is a second life for me. That enlightenment from God brought me to today. I have never forgotten that. I've never let that go. I'm trying to get it back in that intensity, which isn't coming the same way. And I now know that it's not going to come the same way because I had not that low that I could be risen this high. So I'm not going to feel that elated, heightened, even if I get to that point. It's not going to be as overwhelming to me as it had been because I was so down. I gave up everything and then God took me there.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, it's like you have to be super down to
feel, not just to get it, but to feel that it's like, getting a bungee thing on the opposite way, but getting so lifted up so high, so quickly that you're like in awe of just the magnitude of it all. And if you're still got that light and spiritual awareness and you hold that with you, you're closer. So you're not going to get that elated feeling, such like a boomerang effect where it's not, but it happens that you're already there pretty much. And every once in a while I get that outside myself when I still meditate during the days. And
which meditation were you doing?
I was doing just the meditation of the one book I got of White Eagle. And it was just the readings through that. And I had, there's a garden, infinite garden that the angels build and made, and it's through God. And you're going into the sunlight and you see the lake, and beside the lake there's a tree. And you sit down and you lean against the tree and you feel the strength of that tree and the roots reaching down into the earth with the nourishment. And then you feel that all that nourishment goes up into the leaves and into the branches, and you feel the wind in the leaves.
Yeah. Hold on. My dog is coming.
Okay.
Hello, man. And he just wants to say hi.
And when you sit down, then it says, you feel the wind in the leaves and you feel the sunlight on yourself, and that you are a part of the tree and you become the tree. And the tree is actually a tree of light. And so you become that light. And that's where I got that reading, is when I got that.
Got it.
that exact time. So I can tell you that that was it, but it's not going to happen for you because we're all in different places when we get these things. We can be shown.
I've read that book.
Yes.
And I actually had a little bit of a breakthrough the other night in the sauna. I'm listening to 432 hertz. It's the frequency of love. I have my hand on my heart and I'm just like concentrating on gratitude, like how far God has brought me. And it was just like, wow, it was quite the moment. It was quite the moment. Because man, this is something I struggle with. If somebody's struggling with meditation, what do you have any tips or what would you say?
It takes me now. I get up every day and I get on my knees and just thank God that I'm alive today because he saved me. He saved me and I have to try to get to that point where I give up everything like I did, finding that cow on the top of that mart and going to the AA. I try to get to that point every single day to say, thank you for my life. And thank you for everything I have and everything I don't have, because if I won the lottery, I don't know where I'd be. It's not a good thing. Be careful what you wish for. You know, that's the thing. You got to understand you're going to get what you need if you have God in you and the light in you, and that it comes and goes because we're human, because we can't, the separation we got because we were born and we got assimilated because we're living is a tough thing to say, oh, well, I've got God all the time. I don't, because I have to work at it every morning. I read 8 different things or maybe more when people send me other things and readings and things. And it takes me an hour sometimes to get through all the readings and to meditate then each day. But the key is to say, I surrender like I did before. I give up it's not me. And I am a part of God as God is everything. So that I'm actually a part of God. The love that made us, the love that made the light that gave us the physical world. His word, he is everything in the moment. He is not planned 10 minutes from now. He's making it right now. He's building the universe each moment. And that's why they say be in the eternal moment. Because the past is done and he hasn't made the future. He can make it anything he wants because he is everything. So if you're a part of that, you can manipulate matter when you're at that point. You can actually do it. You can walk on water as the apostle did when he comes out onto the water and then he starts saying, oh my goodness, he sees the wind around him and he starts sinking. Jesus says, ye of little faith.
Right.
Because you always have it. You just don't get it because you're struggling with your thoughts, and it's not thought. It's the freedom of thought, actually. It's from your heart. Your heart has the actual memories, and from your soul is what it is. And that'll give the light through and hopefully you can think and feel and taste and hear and see heaven while you're here on earth, because it's always there. It's just us blocking ourselves from that because we think too much, because we have thoughts. But it's because we have that, it's such an experience. That's why we're here, to get that enlightenment, to love life and to love to live and live to love. That's such a great thing to get to. And people struggle with everything, no matter how good or bad, but there's no bad. It's all the same if you get to that point. Because going through the day is only whatever I face. Like I go to the hospital, I'm facing this. It's out of my control. So what? I am still good inside. I still have the light inside because I am given this lymphedema to share. I've given this blessing to share with others. Say,
right.
Why are you suffering? Look at me. I don't have to suffer. It's because I choose not to. Every morning I get to read these things and get to the point where I surrender totally everything. And that's so cool. And I'm so blessed to do that. I was the happiest. I didn't have anything when I got that enlightenment. I was living out of my car, basically. I was just divorced, didn't get married again. I was just in between things. And I was the happiest then. Why can't I be that happy now? Why do we forget that, once we get that, oh my God, now I get back assimilated and to start losing myself in what I think is making me happy. And it's really not. It's just a facade. And the way I can share it is to get that every day. And then I go out into the world. And everywhere I am, it happens. I go to the VA hospital to get appointments, and I'm walking in it. People just look at me and they smile and say, "How are you?" I say, "I'm fantastic today." Because I am. I'm here. I get to experience this.
Right.
And to just be able to give that away. Because I don't try. It's just there. I'm just happy with myself and happy with God. That's why I'm here. That's simple. It's, KISS. Keep it's simple, stupid,
Right.
And that's the key for me. So simple. And with the drinking, I drink, I die. It's black and white. There's nothing beyond. And AA is to not stop you from drinking. God's going to do that. AA is to learn to be with others, and they can teach you how to live happily without that drink. The need for it, because you don't need it anymore. It's that you've given up everything so you don't have to, but life still happens. You're going to have death. You're going to have disease. I celebrated my father when he passed, because he had that peace in his heart. And when he had that peace, it just gave me, I know he's in heaven. Everybody goes to heaven. Everything goes to heaven. Everybody is in heaven now. That's the whole thing. We're already there, but we don't even realize it. That's the cool part. And then we're just all trying to realize that everything is given. Everything's a blessing. Everything is so good. We should, if we can get that and carry it around with us, that's the key.
Right.
That's it. That's all.
And so if I'm hearing you correctly, it's giving up, surrender, and then it's also gratitude. This is like kind of one of the keys. You want to go back with mommy? All right, buddy.
Beautiful.
He just needs a little attention.
Yeah, of course. As we all do.
We all need attention.
I know, right?
Oh, what an amazing story, man. So, one of the things that I kind of got from what you were saying, like you go in the VA and like you're happy, like people pick up on that, like, man, I can't believe this. It's like a frame shift. It's like some people could be in a victim mindset. Oh, poor me. Oh, I have this elephantiasis, my calf is the size of, the average person's waist, poor me, wah, wah, wah. Or you could be like, man, I shouldn't even be here. This is great, man. I got this second chance at life. Oh, it's amazing, right? And it's a choice that we make. We all have that choice. How did you come to that? Because a lot of people, man, they can't get out of that victim mentality. If you could give them like some tips, like how do you get out of that victim mentality into victor mentality?
For me, it is realizing that whatever happens in my day, I keep it to 24 hours. I keep it in the moment if I can, because people go on, the way they get lost is to say, I got to do this for tomorrow, or I got to do this. If tomorrow's going to be good, I have to do this today. And I write something every morning and saying, look, don't be lost in tomorrow. You don't have to, today, this morning, I wrote, you don't have to attend every fight that you're invited to. That's not the problem. You're the problem. You don't even have to have any problems at all, because God's only going to give you 24 hours to deal with, even just an hour to deal with, even just the minute right now to deal with. Because after we finish this talk, I'm not thinking about going out to, I got to eat something. Got to go do this. I'm right here and right now. This is amazing for me because I get to do this. This is the first time I've ever done something like this. It's like, okay, but I get to do it because it's something I get to do. I don't have to. You don't have to do anything in this world. You get to. And that's the mindset where I get to go to the doctors, get the operation. I get to go celebrate something, because the good can be just as anxious and so much anxiety as the bad. You can look forward to something so much so that, oh my God, and we're going to Disney World when, and you're, oh yeah, well, it's going to be all this and that. And, it's crazy. It's like going on a trip where your kids will go, yeah, I can't wait to get there. It's all excitement. For you, it's like, oh my God, the car, how long is it? We're going to find parking. Oh, is all these different things. Where are we going to stay? How much is it going to cost? Oh, we can't do that. The kids have the right idea. I get to do this. Who cares what the details are?
Yeah.
And the details are left to God. I think that's a key, My details are out of my control. All I can do is control myself. I can only control my reactions to the world's actions. People get lost in watching television. They get angry because they see a war halfway around the world, thinking that they have something to do with it. Think that they can do something about it.
Right.
If it's not right in front of you, you can't do something about it right now, then it's not you. It's not your problem. You don't go there because then you lose yourself because you're not with yourself. Be right here, right now. Feel what the air is, what the temperature is, what the humidity is. Feel the clothes on you. It's just being where you are. Your head and your feet are at the same spot. And that way you don't trip over not being where you are. Because you can't see the little molehill that because you're looking at the mountain way in the distance. Because by the time you get to that mountain, it's just going to be a molehill by the time you get there.
Right. Let's go back real quick to the, so you have the elephantiasis. This makes your whole body just like swell up. At some point you lost like a ton of weight. Well, tell us about that.
Usually people get it in one leg or maybe two legs. And I won the lottery. I got it from head to toe. I have it in both hands, both arms. I am. It's crazy. I won the lottery. It's ridiculous. And I was bedridden. I had to order my own AA coins online because I didn't know about, they didn't have the online stuff, and the Zoom meetings, they call them. But then I was still happy. I was still good. And I would go to the hospital and the doctor would say, and this disease is so rare in the United States that they would do their rounds and about 7 people would be doing the rounds. And when it came to my room, though, there would be 20 of them, 20 doctors, because they all want to see. I've never seen this before. I go to the emergency room and some doctors say, oh, yeah, you think you have elephantiasis. And they would check me out and they don't believe me. But they would say, the doctors who knew about it, they were African and Asian and whoever, come in and just look, and all of a sudden they would know that's elephantiasis, because it is so prevalent. And then you have endemic countries, they know what it is. Mm-hmm. In the United States, you can't get it. But when I was there were so many little things that I couldn't do, so many things that no shoes fit, no pants fit, I couldn't wear long sleeve shirts because they don't fit around I still can't. They don't fit around my wrist. All these things that you wouldn't think of that are so daily things that you take for granted. I take nothing for granted anymore, And when I went to the hospital and infection and cellulitis, and the doctors did the IV antibiotics, I was in there for a week or something like that. And then they would send me home with oral antibiotics. And I went home, and at this one time, I laid in bed, and in a week, I lost 30 pounds just laying there. And it kept coming off, and it kept coming off. And 160 pounds later, I'm back up on my feet. And the doctors have no idea why. There's no cure for this. Wow. Doctors don't know why I'm walking again. Because once you get to that point, there's really just compression. You can try to hold, you try to at least have it manageable from where it is. But it doesn't get better. I still wear compression stockings now every day. I ask God, give me the strength to get these stockings on. It takes me an extra hour because the women, I know, you're a little moist. You can't get these stockings on. And they're ripping it. Oh my God. I know, it's hilarious. It's great. And I think it is too. And I laugh at myself.
Empathy for women, what they...
Right? Oh God, yes. Oh, of course. I know more about that than you think. And, but it's so wonderful to have to do that. I get to. Yeah. It's like, I share that I'm driving in the car and I get a flat tire. I did that with my van down here when I first came to Florida. And, you go, oh my God, I got a flat tire. So, wait a minute. I got a van. I got a car to get a flat tire with. It's perspective. Whatever you have to do, it's perspective of that situation. And I lost 160 pounds. I'm back up on my feet. The first thing I did was go back to AA meetings. Because that's where I know God brought me to. So I went back there because that's where God is. And these meetings are amazing because God is present in those rooms. Just like when you go to Mass and you go to church, and if the right people are there, God is present in those rooms. It doesn't have to be. He can be present anywhere. He is everywhere. But sometimes I went to church as a child and I'm like, I didn't feel that. I didn't get that. My father says, yeah, you get out of it what you want. I needed that though. It's like, no, this is how you do it. You surrender. You say, I go to any lengths to get this. I'll be willing to do anything to get. I surrender all of me, good, bad, or indifferent, no matter what it is, because I was at the point where I gave up myself. And that pure surrender is when God said, no, and it's so difficult for us to get to because our mind gets in the way, and we get in our own way because of that. But if you can get that little bit, a taste of what it's like, and if it works, don't stop doing what works. Every morning I get up and I do all these readings. I get on my knees and thank God I can get up off my knees. I am so thankful. I put my head on my pillow and I can sleep through the night. So many people in and out of those alcoholic, AA can't sleep through the night because their mind is going, and you get lost because now you're assimilated into all these things that happen to you, not for you. And God only gave us this short life, and so precious. And I mean, it'd be gone tomorrow. But if you enjoy it today, who cares? That's the key, to enjoy it right now in this moment. The love that you can give just because you have it to give. Like I said before, freely given, because I have this. It was given to me by God, or to me through God, through somebody else from God, because he's living with us. He's living part of us. He's living in everything. The vibrations, people manifest things. And yeah, that's great because they manifest it outside themselves. It's part of the whole living with everything, being a part of it all. And if something bad happens to you, it's only bad because you perceive it to be bad. God gives this to you to just experience, and the human body can take so much. And if you're in a car accident, I've seen people not even know that they're injured. People in the military, I've seen so many things that people don't even know that this is happening to them because they're outside, they're not there feeling. Their mind is someplace else because their body is doing it. It doesn't have to be that they feel it. The body is such an amazing thing. It can do miracles. It can be strong to lift cars up, to do everything if you have that adrenaline or whatever it is. And if you can manifest that yourself with God, you don't have to be sad. You don't have to be anxious. You don't have to be, And if you find out what works, keep doing it. Because it's not continuous through your whole day. Life happens. I get lymphedema. My knees hurt and I start cracking up. Like, why are you laughing? Because my knees are killing me. Because it's my perception of it all. So what? I have knees to have hurt. I was at the point where the VA wasn't giving me anything. And I was fighting for, because we couldn't afford the house. We couldn't afford the kids. We were just very at our bottom. And I said, what is it going to take? What's next step? Amputation? Because that's where I was. So I should amputate my legs. That'd probably be so much easier because of so much pain in my knees, meniscus tears in both knees. And then we're afraid of infection if we operate. And for 2.5 years, I was screaming, so much so. But now, and I was still okay. I was just screaming in pain because it hurt. But that was all right. I would go to the hospital and they said, man, you're in pain. I said, yeah, but God gave me this life to be in pain. It's my perspective to react for what I get. Everything I get, good and bad, it's all good, And how to get that? Surrender. That's the only thing I can tell you, is to let go of everything you think. Your thoughts are in the way. Feel the light of God in all of you, outside of yourself. Be beyond you. The Spirit is not just within you, but is in everything, is in all around you all the time. And if it takes meditation or whatever it takes, practice. When you do martial arts, they say, okay, do this kata or do this thing 100 times, and then you learn how to do it. Do it 1,000 times, and then it becomes natural. You don't even think about it anymore. It's second nature. It just happens. And then you keep practicing that because it works, and you get better and better. And that's okay, because now you can move on to the next step. And you grow every time you do that. And I go now to meetings because I can't do too much more. And I just can sit for an hour, which is okay. But I don't even have to I got out of jury duty because I couldn't sit for too long. I couldn't stand for too long. I can't walk too far. I can't do anything. It's like, I can only do so much, but I'm so happy because I'm here. What else do I need? God has provided me everything I need. My wants are his needs for me. That's how simple I got to keep it. What a glorious thing to do.
Yes. Let's go back real quick. So when you first have this meditation, you have this white light experience, however you want to describe it. Let's walk us through that in a little more detail.
Like I said, I had been going to AA meetings, and I was willing to do whatever it took. And it didn't click or occur to me that I wasn't going out looking for the drink the next day or that night or anything. I just say, I know where the meeting is now. Whew, I'm saved, thank goodness I could get to that meeting again. And I found a back and forth. So I would go there, and there's certain suggestions, it's the suggestions in AA. It's just like jumping out of an airplane. It's suggested you pull the ripcord so your parachute opens. You don't have to. You can hit the ground. But it's probably a good idea, But it's your choice. And that's the thing. It's still your choice for everything in this world, And I've heard people in the meetings, have a loaded gun and putting it to their head and it doesn't fire. Twice I've heard that it doesn't go off. And it has nothing to do with anything that they did wrong. It's that God doesn't have, he says, no, that's not your time, And that's the thing with me. To get that enlightenment, I was reading the book, wanting to just do everyday things. And that enlightenment came when I realized that God is there. He took that need for the drink. And I was prepared, and I was ready, I guess, still willing to do anything. And then today, I'm still willing to go to any lengths to get this, to get the point where I can surrender my whole self. And leaning against the tree where I got that enlightenment, and I was taken outside myself into the light of heaven. And I was in heaven. And
so you feel your spirit leaving your body?
Yes and no. My spirit was outside of me, and I was in the white light. Yet I was aware that I wasn't dead. I wasn't dying. It was nothing. My body was still whatever it is. I was outside of it though, and that's the thing. When you get outside yourself, your body does the same thing. It's already going along. It's not going to stop. It's going to continue on because it's part of time. It's part of the physical world. And it doesn't stop. Even when your spirit leaves you without dying, you can be in that heavenly light. And I was, like I said, able to control matter. I knew I could. It just wasn't a belief. No, it's fact.
Tell me more about that. How can you control matter?
I could manipulate. I could move a mountain. I knew I could just change anything. I could change the desk. I can change this microphone into whatever I needed or whatever it was supposed to be changed to, if God wanted it that way. The conundrum, like I had said, it's supposed to be a microphone, and that's okay. That's what it's supposed to be, and that's great. But at the time, in that moment, I can do that. And that's what Jesus did. He said, I can heal you. I can do this. And it had to do, I think, also with being in the best shape of my life too, physically. I was just able to relax, as you are a martial artist, to relax enough. I'm a black belt in Taekwondo. When I took it over there in Korea, I came back to karate. I was, and I got that enlightenment. And it was 5 years after I stopped drinking, but I didn't have the elephantiasis until, I got an enlightenment just 8 months after I stopped drinking. And then the elephantiasis came 7 years later. It started. So that enlightenment had come to me, and I was still joyful. I was happy just living, and it was euphoric. It was great. I was on a pink cloud, they call it, because it does last. And it didn't go away. I was just to see the sunrise, to see the beauty of the flowers, to be where you are, everything your fingerprints are so delicate and so personalized, but everybody has them all differently. How complex is that for God to make those every single second of everyone and everything?
And how long were you out of your body?
I don't know. It's hard because there's time doesn't exist. Time is not something that God has because He's always everything. He's not restricted by time.
Right.
And that's another thing to explain to somebody else. What is heaven like? It's infinite. It's everything all the time, all at once. But it's all love because God made light. He spoke the word and His pure love became light, and the light produced the physical. And so you're a part of the physical light and the spiritual light. It's all connected. It's all one. And to explain that in words is impossible fully to get everybody to realize that at once. But if somebody can partially get there because of the words you read or the words that are said to you, you're that much closer to God. And for you, and to do the podcast, to say the love in your heart is where it's all about, is to care about everything and everyone all the time. And to feel just as much love to the people that are against you, that are people that are your family. They're all part of you.
Yeah, I don't like everybody, but I love everybody.
Right. Well, that's the thing, right? And no matter what they do, I still love myself. That's okay. Whatever you do, I'm still good with me.
Right.
You can do whatever you want. As long as I'm good with myself and God, they have no effect on me. When I was in the enlightenment part and I was there and it lasted quite a while. I can't even, it did fade. I thought it faded away as the longer away from that enlightenment I got. Because it changed, because I now had gotten, it's like I said, near-death experience where everything is brighter, everything's so crisp. I almost died. Oh my God, I thank God I'm alive. And everything's so beautiful and bright. That's what it's like. But then hours pass, next hour, and then it kind of fades away. Everything goes back to where, oh yeah, it's what I was seeing before.
And then you're back.
When you're back.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is fascinating to me. So there's no time or space with God. You're out of your body. You don't know how long it may have been because...
No, because there is no, right. There is no restriction of time. There is no restriction of space. It's with God, it's everything because He's beyond us. He's beyond the physical.
Right.
So the infinite now is everything right now. That's why I say He creates the universe every moment. He's creating it.
Now, if I heard you correctly, you basically say we all go to the light.
Yes.
Eventually. Tell me about that because, I've heard, growing up, hellfire and brimstone, oh, you're going to hell, you're doing that. So what was your experience and how did...
My brother, I was explaining this to my brother when I got that and he said, so what do you think? Everybody goes to heaven? I said, yes. He said, well, it doesn't matter what you do in this life. No, it makes no difference what you do in life. But the problem is we're human. And if somebody hears that and they're going to go out and do whatever they want, it's not to be bad, but everybody goes to heaven. When you pass away, you become part of heaven again, part of the light and love of God, because you came from there. You came from God He gave you this life. He's going to take you back. So where did that come from? The light. You were there. You're going back. You're just really in this little minuscule part, this time. In perspective of God's time, you're not even here for a flash. Your life is just because you were experiencing it. He's giving you this opportunity to experience this wonderful thing that if you do it the right way, you're in heaven every day. And if you can't see that, keep trying because that's the key to a happy life is to know that heaven's still here because you're going back there no matter what you do. Yeah.
Wow.
There is no hell. Hell is only a physical thing that we can conjure up physically. And I guess since I can manipulate matter and do anything I want, you can bring up spirits and things. And why not? Everything's possible. But once you pass and you back into heaven, there is no bad. There is only love. Because that's where we came from. That's where we're going to.
Got it. What about reincarnation? Do you believe in reincarnation?
Well, I believe that we are connected to God so that we are all, my daughter, I do. And I believe in aliens and reincarnation, because if we think we're the highest form of life and there's a people, other form of life that's a million years ahead of us that has been visiting us, and we're just experiments to them. And what, like you were talking about earlier with Egypt and, loving that, how they built these things. Why do we say we built these things? They could be 20,000 years old, and before actual humans started to really, inhabit the earth.
Right. So let's go back real quick to, we talked about meditation, and if someone is just getting started out with meditation, maybe they don't know anything about it or they've struggled, what's the book that you recommend?
Well, and there's a lot of books for meditation out there. And the one that worked for me is the White Eagle, a very small meditation book. And I have to look up the actual name for it.
Yeah, that's it.
And I'm not sure if that's the only name that there is, but any book, he has several books out of White Eagle. And I got the best of White Eagle, actually. And it goes in deep to how to just surrender. And the thing is it says, stop thinking. Just stop. Stop thinking. Stop being physical. Stop being. And it's very easier said than done, because even the people who do it all the time say, yeah, it takes a while for me to get there. And it still does me. Sometimes I don't wake up every morning going, oh yeah, I'm in with God. Yeah, the light. Oh my God, I relax and my dreams are like everybody else's, I wake up going, wow, what am I thinking? What the heck is going on? And I slow down. I have to slow my thoughts. I have to slow my thoughts enough. And it's not that we stop thinking. We just focus on moving in a different direction. We focus on the light. With the White Eagles, he always, most of the time, he'll bring you into the eternal garden. And so you start visualizing garden, and that's where the blue skies, and there's always a lake that is so still, and it reflects the flowers in the sky and the sun on the light of the lake. And it goes into that a lot, because that's where you start thinking and visualizing where the light is, where it's out of you because you're someplace else. It's like being on the shore of a beautiful, island with all the palm trees and the way, and that's fine wherever you go outside yourself. But the thing is to be still enough and quiet enough within you to be able to go outside yourself, to be someplace else, visualize another thing. Because if you say, oh, well, I'm here right now, but that's part of it, to get outside yourself enough to then when you come back and open your eyes again or be back where you are, you can appreciate what you have and where you are, because you're still outside yourself. It's being both places at once, realizing that it's there, getting to the point where you're living it. You're not just thinking about it, but you're living it from your heart. It's not thought anymore. It's like the practice
with the mind and into the heart.
Into the heart, right? Because that's where you can surrender here. And your heart, they say in these meditation books, where your heart is actually an entity in itself. It has thought itself. It doesn't need the mind to work. Your mind can be brain dead and your heart will still pump. Your heart will still continue to go. And you don't have to have thought about that. That's why, I did it from my heart and not my head, because it wasn't thought that got me here. It was the feeling. And people say it's the soul. It's the same. It's all love. It's not, and that's why they say stop thinking, don't think and let go. And it's tough to do that because you have to be thinking of something. Well, that's when you think and you focus on the light and the love and all good. And you get to the point where you can actually feel and hear and smell where you are. You actually feel the tree that you're leaning against, and the light and the wind blowing in the leaves, and the light, the warmth of the sun shining on the leaves of you and on you. And you feel, I could feel sometimes where it pours down, the light pours down on me. And it's just a feeling of happiness. I was in New York City when I had this enlightenment. I was walking down New York City, and my ex-wife now, she was walking behind me because everybody was hitting her and bundling her, and nobody touched me because I had this just aura. I just walked. It was just so, I was smiling and happy. And I knew it wasn't my time to, everybody's worried about, I think in my mind, I was always thinking, oh my gosh, what time? I'm afraid to die, or I'm afraid this is going to happen to me. I'm afraid how do I know when my time is? And when you have that enlightenment, it doesn't matter, because you're going to be taken when you get taken. And you're so at peace with that. There's no thought of that. There's just enjoying now. Because whenever it happens, okay, good. You're so at peace with yourself and what's going on. That's the hard part to explain.
What a gift to not have a fear of death, a fear of dying, because this is one of the great fears that mankind has. And if I'm hearing you correctly, it's because you trust God, and like, okay, whenever my time is, that's, I know you got it, and so you don't have to worry about it.
Right, and his plan for you is already done. He already knows everything that's going to happen, everything that has happened, more than you do. He knows your thoughts. He knows your actions before you do it. The thing is to be happy doing it, because it's like, yep, okay, I get to go to work every day and do the same thing and hate my boss or do that. Well, it's more of feeling sorry for your boss because he's a jerk, or being, because God's taking care of you. And when you do that, it's really strange how they say the miracles happen when you're so happy and you're so with it and within God, because you're letting things happen the way better for you. Mm-hmm. It's almost like you're inviting the good things in instead of inviting the bad things. Because when you start practicing those, oh my God, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about the finances, and then it's like manifesting that as well. You can do the opposite of finding God, is finding the worst thing about things and being afraid of everything. People get so mentally disturbed that it actually returns into physical form. You can think yourself into sickness. Yeah. Think yourself into so sad that you can't do anything and freezing, you end up not going anywhere,
Right. Our thoughts we are co-creators of our own reality.
Right.
With the Father.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You mentioned the aura, like you had this aura. Some people can see another person's aura. I think we all, at a minimum, perceive it, maybe not on a conscious level, maybe a subconscious. But what is your experience on that? Can you actually see auras?
Not at all. I am terrible about that, apparently, because I know I've got light. I know I produce light because people tell me, and I'm just happy to do it. It just comes to me because I got it. It's there because I have it. And to explain what it is, and God explaining heaven, there's no words that can do it. So I get every morning to give a little bit more, to explain it in this perspective, to give it a little bit. This is my take right now from my perspective physically here, because I change. Every day is a new day. Every day is a gift from God, that the sun comes up. Not in our power, it's sun's coming up. And if we take that for granted and not think, oh my God, he made that. That's a special happening now. Why, when we're kids and we're infants and we're not assimilated yet. We're still there in heaven. They can, like I told you, my daughter spoke languages. We heard her, and we had no idea what it was. We even asked her, you're talking about incarnations. We would say, are you incarnation of, Jesus, or, all the saints or things like that? And we got to Gandhi, and she said yes, after naming off dozens of people. And we got to Gandhi, and she said yes. Why not? I mean, why would she do that just out of the blue? She was young. She was 3 years old.
Your daughter has this amazing aura.
Yes, seen by other people, seen by the principal of her elementary school when she first went in there. She's 3 years old, and down from all the way down the end of the hall, it's just, oh my God, she's shining. She is so bright. Guess she could see auras. She was a terrible principal, I guess she was a good principal. It was the worst Catholic school, ready to be closed, and we did all the advertising. We said, if, she had us do the advertising so we could afford to have our kids go there. And we said, we'll bring them to the door if you can keep them here. And she said, that's a deal. So we did billboards and all these different things. I did the yearbooks and the pictures and all these other things for their school. And we got them there, and they were the fastest growing Catholic school. They were now the #1 Catholic school growing in the United States because of our combined efforts. So it actually works, But yeah, my daughter Whitney is amazing, but she doesn't know it yet. She has it, and I know it's in her, and it just has to be She just has to get it. That's all, And I think she knows that she's been told that, but that's why you plant the seed and then they got to do it themselves. Because it's just like AA. I can't get anybody sober. Mm-hmm. Everybody stops drinking their own way. God will get you. But to live happily, that's why we keep going back. The 12 steps, any program, because you get the fellowship in there that get it. And they have their spirit too. And they bring that with them because they're happy to be alive. It's so wonderful to go there and to find and to listen to the people who are just happy to be alive today because they were ready to die, and afraid of it and ready and willing, but they were saved by God. My one sponsor says, yes, everybody in that room is prayed into that room. So everybody's from God. And so that's why he's there. It's very, very nice to go into those rooms because you can feel it. So it's just an amazing deal to have that perspective that I can get every day for myself, that I can surrender. I can go back to that first. I try to go back to that level of surrender. It is physically impossible, I think, because I don't have the same feelings. I didn't have the elephantiasis then, so how can I get that exact same response, But I get a different response, and I do have that enlightenment, I think, and I try to carry it with me everywhere I go, And apparently it works face to face because people smile at me. I don't know what they think, but they're smiling, so it's good.
Well, it's a mirror.
Yes, Ed.
It's a mirror.
And I pray every morning to just shine the light through me. St. Francis' prayer is all I say, God, make me an instrument of thy peace. That where there is hatred, let me so love. That where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is sadness, where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to your eternal life. And that's what I pray for, just to be an instrument, just to have him shine through me and be a mirror for his light. Because, like I said, that's all I need. Everything else is gravy. Everything is good because he's the one who's made me. And I get to the point where I'm like, okay, you made me. I'm just enjoying this. Show me what I'm supposed to do, And that's it. And hopefully I can help someone else. One other, like you had said, if I can help one other person smile and feel so much better about themselves, whether they get the whole ball of wax or not, and be there all the time, if they can get the taste of heaven, they can pass it to somebody else. Exponentially, it will grow.
Right.
From 1 to 2 to 4 to 8.
The ripple effect.
Yes. And so it's out of my control once I give it away, Once I'm there, I come in my presence, and I hope that's all. I have a light enough to be something for somebody else.
What do you think happens after we die?
We're part of the whole. We are part of, now we understand everything. We are all knowledge. We are part of all of it, the physical and the spiritual. So you are part of the world. That's why some people see spirits. Some people can connect to them because you aren't taken away from this, because this is part of heaven. That's why you can live in heaven while you're still on earth, because it's all unified. It's joined in the spiritual world as it is with the light is physical, made the physical. So in that light, we are all living. We just can't, with our eyes, see it. It's our mind's eye that I was raised and I saw. With my mind's eye, I saw everything. I could look into the sun, directly into the sun, and see it for what it is. And I could see everything so easily. And like I said, there was no darkness. It was just shadowing, but everything was crisp and clear. I could see that too in my mind's eye. There were no dark areas. You can take the darkest place on earth and I could still see everything there, because in heaven there is no darkness. It's all light. It's all love, because it's all part. And that's why it's our choice to get there. That's why we keep struggling. Oh my God, I got to get to heaven. I don't know how you do this. And you're already there. That's the conundrum again. You're already there, but to just see it with your mind's eye,
When you say your mind's eye, you're talking about like the third eye.
Third eye, where it comes from your heart and it passes through. And that light is the best disinfectant for anything you've got going on. You know, it can cure everything. It can do anything for you if you need it to, or if God wants it to, you know, to accept that enlightenment. Because when you say, oh, well, I did so many bad things, or somebody thinks, oh, I felt bad because this, or they have depression, or they have anxiety, or even resentment for somebody else because they did something wrong to you. It's not really you forgiving them or you saying, okay, I forgive you for everything. It's for you to forgive yourself for feeling that way, because you're only controlling your response to what's going on. And if God's already forgiven you for whatever, like he said he was, when you're on your deathbed and you can be forgiven no matter what you did in this life. That's why everybody goes to heaven. There is no downside to this. There's no bad to this. It's, I forgive myself with my own heart, and I am happy because I forgave myself. You let everybody else be forgiven as well. You open yourself up to God's light, because you can close that off too. You can shut yourself down and go, this isn't working. And it goes doing drugs or whatever. It closes that door to God's light. And if you're not thinking about surrender, Jesus on the cross, that in surrendering himself, that's a blessing. It's complete surrender. It has nothing to do with suffering or anything like that. He did it to be born again. He did it because he knew what's happening. He did it for love, out of love, with love. That's why I say nothing, and I don't know if he had any doubt whatsoever that God was with him the whole time. People say, this happened and that happened, how he was human. It doesn't matter. If you're within God's light and you're still human, you're in heaven while you're on this earth. Nothing's going to happen to you that's not supposed to. Nothing's going to do anything bad because nothing's bad. It's all what's supposed to happen. Enjoy the thing that you stub your toe or you think that's wrong. God maybe have more plans for you, stop you from doing something else, or get you to do something else. Who knows? It's totally beyond us, which is wonderful if you can say, yep, that's cool. I love it all. You get to. That's so fun. That's the enlightenment part. It's where the love comes out of you, because I'm great to die tomorrow or yesterday or now or whenever it happens, it happens. And I'm having fun doing it, jumping out of the airplane without a parachute. If you're with God, nothing's going to happen to you. That's the thing.
But it's suggested that you have one, right?
Oh, well, yeah.
The AA
just try that, because if you do it purposely, you probably don't have God within you. That's not what you're supposed to do. But if you happen that you have to, and you're in the spirit of God, that you're going to walk away. Some people walk away from plane crashes without a scratch.
That's right. Look at Artemis Pyle from Leonard Skinner.
Right.
Those people died. He walked was in this, like his ribs sticking out and still going.
He's right.
Alive. It's pretty.
It wasn't his time. Yeah. And it wasn't my time to give thyself up to.
Right.
I didn't want it. I didn't want to be in this body. And I said, no, you can't do that. It's not my choice to live or die. It's his. Like I said, people put the guns to their head and they don't work.
Yeah, you mentioned about, suggestions. It's like Bill W. was so smart, like the way he worded everything. And because what's the defining characteristic of all alcoholics? Defiance.
Right.
Birds to everybody.
Yeah.
It's, they're just suggestions. Oh, okay. You're not really telling me what to do. Well, I'm really telling you what to do, but in a nice way. So you'll be open to it.
Well, right. Well, how do you get an alcoholic to do something? Tell him to do it, or, tell him not to do it. And that's what the first thing he'll do.
Right.
And we're not a glum lot, and we're probably, the most intense people there are, because we do everything to the max, the best and beyond we can. We take everything to the extremes because we're not normal as far as that disease goes. And a lot of times we're overachievers, like we are with everything. And I could show them all how to drink. I did. It just doesn't work. That's the whole problem, and it takes God to relieve that.
Yeah. Who are the people that you see that they make it? as opposed to the people who don't? What's the difference?
The people who make it are surrendering and are willing to do anything for no matter how long it takes. And sometimes they get depressed, but they persevere. The people who don't make it say, "Oh, I'm ready to do this," but, and that "but" is the key. They're not willing to go to any lengths to get this because this isn't life and death for them yet. Right. They don't realize. And if it is, sometimes, like my father was cardiothoracic surgeon. He removed one lung from a guy who was smoking cigarettes and recovered 6 months later. He only has one lung. And the first thing he does when he gets outside the hospital is light up a cigarette. How insane is that? The woman who is alcoholic and she hides the alcohol over, all the bottles all over her house and in the roof and everything else. And she lives by herself. How insane is that? I mean, just the craziness we go to, and that our minds take us, and that we can't stop these things unless we just say, okay, I give up. God, whatever you want from me, I give up. Being still and doing nothing is actually doing the best sometimes that you can do. It's wonderful. That's the thing, And that's why meditation is really kind of cool. People say, I don't have time. If you make time, 10 minutes, 10 seconds, make time whenever you have it at a red light. You don't have to close your eyes or do anything. Just, I'm with God. When I'm driving, I get that. I look around and I can look at the sky and just get relief. I can be outside myself. That feeling of saying, I'm glad I'm here. Nothing more, And that's where I can give it away too, because I'm just glad I'm here. And that's the best part. Yeah.
I've noticed too, the people that they got a lot of time and they seem to, they got it. They all have a routine.
Yes.
They all have a routine. Prayer and meditation, reading some stuff or whatever. I mean, they all...
Yeah, when you find out what works, never stop doing that.
Right.
Just keep going. Yes, because you get complacent. You go, oh, I did that. It helped me. And then you walk away. Then you go back to worse than you were before because you stopped doing, what works. You stop taking the medication that is going to get you there.
Right.
And the medicine for us is the AA meetings and other people to share the love with, because they share their love with you. It rubs off. It's like they say. If you go to a barber or you hang around at a barber shop long enough, you're going to get a haircut. If you stay around AA long enough, you're going to get sober and be happy and learn how it is, and because it's given to you from others and without expectation of anything in return, but just the hope that you get that when you go to all the meetings.
Right.
It's not all these piranhas or this cult that says, oh, you got to do this or this is going to... It's like, no, this is suggestions and we are here for you because we'll love you until you can love yourself. What other place can you do that goes in there? Even church, okay, give us your money. It doesn't cost you anything to go, hey, no, right. They ask for donations, but it's not necessary. Nothing is absolute there. There are no rules. There's nobody in charge. That's the weirdest and best thing because God is in charge. It's the group conscience. What is that? It's but God. And it's so cool because, like I said, when I was bedridden, I got up and I could walk again. I have a wheelchair in my van that I got because sometimes, tomorrow I might not be able to. Oh my God, I got a wheelchair to be able to go running around because I can. I am so lucky. I'm so blessed to have this disease and to have all these things that I could use, and that I have this experience that I can share. And when you feel that way, and you can go around and just say, okay, whatever I get to do today is what I want to share, and I just be there. My presence is enough to give the light of God.
If somebody's struggling, if they're an atheist, agnostic, whatever, what would you tell them?
Well, as I was saying, example is people have been in for years in AA and they say, well, I don't believe in God, but they believe in the spirit or they believe in the nature is God to them. Their higher power is nature. I get the spirit and the enlightenment from walking out into, on the paths and seeing the birds and the trees and fantastic. I mean, that's where you want to go in your mind. That's where you get the spiritual. And it doesn't have to be, I always say religion and spirituality aren't synonymous, because you can go to church and still not get the spirit. You can never go to church and still have the spirit. It's not anything for the same for everybody, but is the same for everybody, that it is the enlightenment. Heaven is still heaven. You're going to go there. Everybody's going to go there. How you explain it it can't be explained in words. It's like, explain love. Give it the how does that feel? What is what is love really? And it's faith. It's God. It's heaven. It's then things that are beyond words. So when I tell somebody, okay, you're an atheist, for what? Why don't you believe in a power outside yourself? Isn't everything part of that? The sun rising? Is that, if you don't, who controls that? Who is beyond this? Just being here in the 24 hours, who made the day with the sun rising and setting? Nothing. I mean, it doesn't have to be an entity or anything. It just is, because it's part of God. And time, it's not existent in heaven, because it's all the eternal now. Why, if you're an atheist, it's tough to be an atheist if you have to face these things that are unexplainable, and you can't come up with an answer to me. It's like, well, it's just nothing. You die and that's it. You're done. My brother says that, well, what happened to the spirit? How were you born? Oh, it's just mechanical, or it's just physical. No, you have more than that, because things happen that are unexplainable in this world. And it's beyond our control, really, to make life and have it flourish and have it do this. We do the physical part, but that spark that's in every one of us, that is love, that we give kindness. We don't want somebody to hurt us, and our defenses, we put up our defenses. And I think that's what atheists do. They say, I don't want to be hurt, so I don't want to believe in that. Well, you don't have to be hurt. It's your choice to just say, I don't have to be hurt, and it's my choice every day not to be, because I'm good. I love myself. And to love yourself, you can love the world, And it's just, I tell them that it's harder to be disbelieving than it is to believe, because God is everywhere, and it's so true, because he proves it all the time if you let him do that. And to disprove him all the time, you have to make up things when miracles happen. You still have to, that was because of this, Science can explain that. Oh, I can explain it in mathematical terms.
It's a coincidence.
Yeah. I don't think so. So it's difficult, and it's, for them, it's a struggle more than for me, or more than for you. Because when you get that, or a piece of it, or you see that and it's there, it's the faith that you have. It's not a question anymore. It's, it's just, it is. It's a belief I live with. I get, life is a box of chocolates, and you don't know I got a box of chocolates. Who cares? I'm living. I love chocolate, Who cares? That's the whole thing. That's the difference in the mindset. And for the people who say, oh, well, I don't believe there's a God, I just have more empathy for them. I have more prayer. A story that my first daughter was baptized by a priest that we really liked, and we were married by him, and we wanted to have him baptize our second daughter. But we saw him on the 11 o'clock news that he was found in a rest stop, doing things that a priest shouldn't do, or guys shouldn't do. But anyway, we thought, he got moved out of the church, of course, reassigned. Didn't know what happened to him. So our second daughter, we had the priest that was now reassigned to our church come. And unbeknownst to us, he came and did another baptism. So there were two priests there, and one was him that we wanted in the first place, that had gotten caught. Well, me having that enlightenment from there, he must have seen something, because afterward, in the reception of that followed the baptism and mass, he came to me and confessed all his things and opened up to me everything, because he wanted to just give it away. And I just said thank you. I was just there as St. Francis Père, as, an instrument of God. And he saw that for some reason. And that just confirmed to me that, yeah, I just am, and it's there, which is so cool that I can realize that. And I'm so blessed with everything, because I get to. That's how I keep it. It's so simple. I get to. So I don't know how else to give it away. It is what it is.
What a great frame, right? I get to, instead of, do I have to do this? Or
Yeah, what's going to happen if? Oh my God, that's not reality.
Right. Realizing that God is working through me, and everything is happening for me, not to me. What a great frame shift.
Yes. Yeah. And that's where you have, and if you can't keep that, keep working. Go back to because you can start your day any time of day. Start it over again.
Restart.
Stop. Whoa, wait a minute. What am I thinking? And I do that. I start laughing at myself because it happens so quickly now, because I do this every day. I'm like, what am I doing? What am I thinking? One person in A was saying, yeah, the last thing to get sober was my right foot when I'm driving in traffic. It's like, but you can, when you work at it, get there and relax and step back with all the anxiety and just let things go. Say, okay. Because practice, like I said at the beginning, do it 1,000 times and then it becomes second nature.
Right. That's a great barometer of like where I am spiritually. Like if I'm driving in traffic and nothing's bothering me and I'm like, poor guy's just sick and suffering. Got to pray for him. Like
having a good day.
Exactly. And then cutting people off and, giving them the finger and like, yep, I got some work to do.
Yeah, we all do. Right. But that's okay. Sometimes I have fun going faster. But I don't, if I get stopped and just get stuck in traffic, I'm like, okay, it doesn't change my mindset though. Yeah. It's always like, okay, it's cool. And I get to just be, and I look at somebody else and, they're on their phone texting or doing this or that. And I don't know if they're worried or not, but I'm good. That's all that matters. I'm good. If you're good with yourself, then the world can be good that you meet. That's why I said my presence, all I can do is take myself there. And if I'm good with myself, I take God with me. It's because I have God in me. And that's why. It's tough to explain, well, how do you do that? Well, I just am. I'm a part of God, and I believe that in my faith and know that with my love, with my heart. I don't want to hurt anybody or anything. I'm just happy to live today because God saved me from myself.
How you are now, like spiritually, how much of this do you directly attribute it to that white light spiritual experience?
I have to say that, because I know it's there, because I've experienced it, that if you can touch, you asked how long, it could have been a millisecond. It could have been, but I know I was there in heaven and I realized everything, and it was just shown to me. And from that point on, I know it's there. I keep trying to get it back to that extent. But like I said, I don't know if I can get to that point again. It probably won't be the same. I can get out of myself and go, life is great, and feel that light pouring through me and everything. But it's still not that exalted, I'm in heaven and I stayed there and wow. And he did that for a reason, I think, because when my elephantiasis came, it didn't change me. I got that, I think, because he wanted me to go through the rest of this and still show people, no matter what's happening, who cares? I'm here and everything else that happens to me is gravy. It's wonderful. It's so easy and so hard. It's the hardest thing in the world to surrender totally. Right. And it's the easiest thing in the render when you do it. That's the hardest thing to explain too.
What a beautiful paradox too. By giving up, by saying that we are powerless, we become powerful through the Father.
Right.
Life's full of paradoxes.
Yes. That's because, and the physical part, before I went to AA, hugging guys was a little, loving another man, to where I would do things and, without question. It's just like, oh yeah, you need this? Fine. Without even thinking. It's just because I'm there for them to help them stay. Today is today. And I'm great with it. And to help the people, like you asked me before, to see somebody get that light and that enlightenment. You can see it happening to somebody and they don't even realize it. They're the last ones to see it. You have to tell them sometimes to say, you look good today. And or you don't even realize this. This is the light and the change within them.
Right.
When they haven't had the need for a drink and they're grasping, oh, I'm here. I'm not where my family is because I was sent here a year ago and I don't have my kids with me and I'm so sad and everything. No, they're here right now because they were willing to do anything, go to any lengths at that first time when they were sent down here. Or they were saying, yes, I want to live because this is all I have is me. If I don't have myself and I'm lost and I'm sad, I can't give it to somebody else. It's not giving anything good to anybody else. The world is not, And when you see that light click and that little switch in their head and their hearts change, and now they're on a pink cloud, it just spreads. It's such a miracle to see them come into any place and to spread that happiness because now they've got it.
Right. I shared with somebody this morning who's they're struggling with God, and anyway, I said, just look at the results. Like if you go in the rooms and you see, like we've seen people change like total 180. If you objectively like just look at the results, they couldn't do that on their own. They couldn't. Right. So that's one thing to consider is, objectively, like look at the results. Yeah.
And the people who go to those meetings go, yeah, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if this. They don't see the people who tried and went out and now aren't coming back because they didn't get back to those meetings because they said, oh, I don't think I can either.
Right.
I can't get you sober. Only God can. But I can tell you how to be happy when you don't have that drink. I can show you what I did. I can tell you how I do it. Right. And share my love with you, and I can love you till you love yourself. And I can do all these wonderful things, but it's still up to them to say, I'm still willing to go to any lengths because I remember when I first came in an hour ago or a week ago or a month ago or 25 years ago, because that's how desperate I was. I'm willing to go to any lengths to get this. And to get this is the Spirit of God. That's what you're getting. And then life, happiness, the joy. And the light of God is everything.
When you had the elephantiasis and you lost all that weight, I mean, this is not something that happens, to most people, if anyone, right? Like, what do you attribute that to?
That is a miracle from God. I don't know. Again, things that happen to me sometimes are just things that happen. I don't explain. I don't try to, I can try and figure it out, but I just accept. More, and if it comes to me, why? Okay, it comes to me, why? But if it doesn't, I don't sit there and waste my time saying, okay, because the doctors, this one doctor said, oh my God, she was my infectious disease doctor up in Albany. And she said, I'm going to write a paper on you. But she never tried to help me. She always tried to come up with ideas to do tests and to do research and things. But if I asked for something, she didn't give it to me. I asked for like this. I thought it was a combination of doxycycline and the medical marijuana and other things that had been done. And just the timing of my infection and the antibiotics I got and just all that together. And we tried to repeat it again, and it didn't do any more. I lost 160, maybe 180 pounds of lymph fluid, and because and it got to the point where there were no shoes that would fit me. There's no socks that I could put on. I got those rubber boots that go over shoes, and I barely could get them on my feet if they're large enough size to walk outside with, to walk out in the snow up in Albany. I had to get 2 pairs of jeans and cut them apart and make 1 pair that would fit me because nothing would fit on my legs. I had to get, shirts that are 3X just because get them on and on my arms. The secondary issues that came on this, it's my lymph fluid is not flowing, I get arthritis and I get calcium buildups in my joints and my spine and my shoulder, and things just happen. Very strange. In my eyes, they said, well, we can't attribute, the pain that you get or things that are happening except for the lymph vessels. There's only 8 in the eye. And so they said, nothing else to explain it. But to lose that, they don't have any idea either. To have it
Nobody
better.
knows.
Nobody.
It's a miracle.
That's it. It's just happened. She said, I want to write a paper. I said, no, because you didn't help me.
You didn't do anything. Now you want to take credit.
Exactly. After 15 years,
Slow your roll, Karen.
I would come in to see her every once in a while, and one time, and I wouldn't wear my bandages because I would have to get like a mummy wrapped up in bandages and all this foam and things like that, and do layers and layers and layers, and it would just make me look bigger. And I came in one day with my bandages on, because usually I didn't have them, to see her so she could see if there was progress or the change in my skin or something. And I came in once, she goes, Mr. Heck, are you okay? What's wrong? It's like, you've been seeing me for the last 10 years. You don't realize that this is what I usually have without seeing you. I usually go through this, She didn't have a clue of what it was, the reality of it all. She would just, I want to research this, and I think I can learn, how to find out this or that. But there's no cure. There's 170 million people in the world who have this disease, and 70 million of them have the elephantiasis. You don't have to have, you can get the parasite and the worm without getting the elephantiasis. It may not manifest itself fully in this to get the lymphedema. And when you look up lymphedema, usually it's from removing lymph nodes, breast cancer, other cancers that they have to do surgically remove them. And then one arm gets swollen and things. And, oh man, that's tough, and I feel for the women, and, and things happen. I've been dealing with this for almost 30 years, just 26 years or something like that, 28 years. And it is what it is. And sometimes I don't even know what's real anymore. I can't even think of, this is normal to me. This is my norm.
Right.
And that's okay. And it being my norm, I don't think of it as a second thing. Where if you initially get this and you're like, oh my God, now I have you're so self-conscious. Yeah, I can't even close my hands sometimes. My arms, people think oh my gosh, you're like a big, bodybuilder. No, this is the lymphedema. I used to be a bodybuilder when I was nice and trim and, and not 400 pounds. I'm now 270 pounds, and still I have so much lymphedema still. I have to deal with it, but that's all right, because it's so much less than I had. If you go so far and so deep, it's just like you say, I was raised up into heaven, and okay, I come back down, and now I want to get back up, but it's still there, but I don't know if I can reach that height again, just like the lymphedema. I hope it doesn't come back to that extent.
Yeah.
But it might.
Bill W., he had a white light spiritual experience, right? He's in Towns Hospital, and they gave him a psychedelic. Belladonna is a psychedelic. It's right there in the big book. And he had this white light spiritual experience. He feels like he's on top of a mountain, and with the wind was blowing through him. And he said, but this is a spirit. This is like the God of the preachers,
Yep.
And he wanted everybody to have that, but the vast majority of people do not have
right
that, and this is something that he struggled with. Like, he actually, did you know he did a bunch of other psychedelics?
He got depressed.
He got depressed. This is like the 1930s, whatever, when he has his first belladonna experience. And then years later in the 50s, he does LSD,
right,
because he's got this intractable.
Try to get that back.
And yeah, and apparently it helped him. And then he tried, he's like, guys, we got to bring this in. They're like, no, slow your roll, dude. You're trading one drug for another. This is what they told him. And he kind of shut up about it, after that. But this is something that, if people got it, if they got the God thing, man, I think the rest of the program would be a whole lot easier. Because it sounds like what you went through, it's like once you got it, you go like, oh, okay, yeah, well, I get it. And then once you get it, you're able to kind of, it was easier for you, I would imagine.
The steps were nothing to me. I went through the steps saying, yeah, I'll make amends. I'll do anything. It doesn't matter. Right. I'll write everything. for me, everybody's afraid to say, oh, well, if they knew my deepest, darkest secrets, I didn't care. And I still don't. My sponsor knows me better than anybody, better than my wife or anybody else, because I told him everything. There's nothing. Why am I so special to think nobody else has gone through this stuff? I didn't kill anybody, thank God, that I know of. And, I didn't, things that haven't happened to me, I just thank God that they didn't. I didn't have to go through that. I didn't have that happen. All the not yets. And, but I get to do all those things I did. And to relate it to somebody else saying, yeah, I'm just blessed that I got to do those things, and I can be an open book to everybody in those rooms. And just, I try to keep it simple, because when we share things and we tell our stories, we get to be deep into that. But it's whatever I share, my story is the same. It doesn't change, but I think of other things that I can bring into it when I get there, and if somebody needs it, God's going to work. Every time I speak, I don't remember what I said half the time, because it's not from me. It's like when I write every morning these things, I read them back to myself and go, oh, that's pretty good. Whoever wrote that, because
You're
channeling, right?
You're channeling. Yeah.
And it's cool when you look back and you do that, like you do the same thing, and you say, well, I haven't gotten it. And I haven't got, just like Bill says, I didn't get that back the way I got it with first time. You may never. Sometimes you don't get the white light, but you get close enough to taste it. You get close enough to know it's there. You're close enough to say, I know it's there. It's faith. I can't see it. I never will. Well, and yes, you will eventually, and we all will. But again, you'll realize how much I didn't see of this earth and of this life and the light that everything is made of, because it's all made from God. All of us are made from all the leaves, all the breeze, the air, the sun, the universe. It's all made from the same God. And just from his thought, his word made everything all up, there it was, physical.
Right. You were not the drop in the ocean. You were the ocean in the drop.
That's right. Yes, exactly. When I think of myself so special as being the raindrop and I'm the only one, and then you hit the ocean, you're like, wait a minute. It's a different perspective, that's for sure. So isn't it wonderful to be a part of it? That's another thing too.
Yes.
Now I get to be a part of the waves and part of all the wonderful things that happens with us, and get evaporated again and go back in the cycle, in this physical world.
You hear the bird?
Yeah.
It's a cardinal. When my grandma, she told my mom, now be listening for me. I'm going to come back as a cardinal. When I tell you, these cardinals, they are there every day. Every day they're out here. Now I have a bird feeder. But
yeah, they don't come to me. Well, I don't feed them, but they are there every day. It's what you make it. It's exactly what you make it.
yes.
I've had, when my grandmother was, she was a very tough woman. Even in her eulogy, the priest, the the nicest thing basically was that she knew how to get things done. It wasn't that expression of love or thing. This isn't a church. So like, yeah, she could get things done. And her and I had butted heads a lot. And just because she was so, and after her passing, she came to me in her spirit and said, and everything was forgiven. Everything we were like, yeah, it wasn't anything it was just, she came to me and it was just a forgiveness of all from me and her. It was just understanding that.
And tell me about that. Was this in a dream? Were you?
I was awake, I believe. I was awake partially, but it was at night, and it was that I was sleeping and I had woken up, and then she was there, and it's the spirit, and I could see her vividly, and she just came to me for a moment, and then it was just realizing that she's in the right place, just like my father when he passed. It was a celebration to me, and all my other siblings were like, or some of them were, just out of themselves and just, oh my God, it's so sad. And it's not sad for him. He's already got that. He had that peace before he left. It was so wonderful that now he's just where he should be too. And I was just happy for him. I was just elated for him because he's now living there, and hopefully he can give some back to me, That was it. Because I've been to a meditation thing, and they had the famous medium was doing this, and she's like, wow, you have an aura. So you have your guardian angel looks just like you. And I look like my father. He says, he's right over your shoulder. I said, good, he's there. I know he is. It's great, because he's watching out for me, just as God is for everything. That's the best part, to accept that, not to fight it, not to think it, not to worry, not to, I'm not going to get this. You fight yourself when you say, how do you do this thing if you don't explain this to me? Because I can't seem to. No, wait a minute. Just keep on keeping on. Keep on doing what you feel that works. And maybe add a little to it. Maybe take a little away. But to get that love in you is to just let go and let God surrender enough to have him come into your heart. And that's when you can freely share it, when your presence. Nothing, you don't have to work at it. That's the coolest part. You just be,
Relax.
Yep. Yeah. Smile and wave, Peter. Smile and wave. That's all I could do, Thanks for the gumball, Mickey. I am great. Yeah. I'm good with myself.
Yeah.
That's
interesting when the Spirit came to you when you were kind of sleeping, but kind of coming out of it, like you're kind of in between.
Kind of, yeah. But I knew I was awake. I knew I was aware, and my eyes were open to see this, and it was real. I had such a connection that I want to get back again, that my ex-wife, I had such this openness and this connection with everything, that she was dreaming, and she had dreamt that this net was falling on her. And I saw that, and I pushed it off. I was in her dream pushing it off of her and helped her push it away. And that's something I can't explain. Yeah. I saw her dream. I saw her dream, what she was dreaming.
Wow.
I know, things that are just out of this, what? How can you do that, But I did. It was so strange. Things like that, for me, are just happenings. They're just it, It's like, okay, I get some experience for me.
Well, if you look at dreams, angels came to look at just leading up to the birth of Jesus, right? Angels came to Mary. Right. Hey, got this son. He's going to be pretty great. You're going to name him Jesus. He's going to be awesome. She's like, all right. And look at Joseph. Hey, I know you haven't had sex with Mary yet, but don't worry, the Holy Spirit knocked her up. It's everything's going to be good. You can marry her, right? It came in a dream. Right. The wise men, right? After, they see the stars, they go to Herod, anyway, they go see the baby Jesus. After that, the angels appeared to them in a dream and said, hey, don't go back. Herod's going to whack you and, whack the baby Jesus. And they went back a different way. Right. Dreams are used, for communication.
Right.
From the other side. And I've been keeping a dream journal for a year or two. And sometimes it's just like, I don't know what it means.
Right.
But a lot of times it's something I need to change in my life. It's something that I need to work on, whether it's ego or pride, vanity, lust, like whatever it may be. Not all the time, but there's almost always some lessons in there. And that's amazing. So she showed up.
Yeah, I saw her dream vividly, and I helped her out with it. And it was, And she couldn't understand it. She was like, you saw this? And I explained exactly what it was. Yeah, that's my dream. Why are you? It was just, it was crazy to her. What are you doing in my, I know, right? Get away from me, buddy. It scared her, I think, a little bit. But yeah, it was before we were married even, we're just going out. But amazing things that happen. I had thought of another thing that was happening, and I just,
that Alzheimer's kicking in already.
Yeah.
You're a little young for that, I think.
How old do you think I am? I'm 66.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? Oh, wow is right. That's what
I had no idea. I take that back.
Your lymphedema stuff kind of works. Everybody pays thousands to get this Botox stuff. It just comes naturally to me. It's wonderful. See, I told you I was blessed. It's cool.
No shots needed.
I know, right? It's really good. If I can remember the story that I was going to say. It'll come to me. No worries. If I need it, it'll come to me.
So Peter, what would you tell people who are, maybe they're struggling with faith? What would you say to them?
If you need help, ask for it. If you need help with God, go where God is. Ask for it. It's not going to be in yourself until you find out it is. God is everywhere, but it's in other people. God is in everything, but you have to move a muscle, change a thought. If your thoughts are keeping you away from God, then you have to change them. And that's the way it is. We're coming into AA. Like I said, we can't get you sober, but we can change your thoughts to be happy with being without a drink. And so if you can come into the rooms, you're giving yourself a chance. And if you can just be in church, be someplace out in nature, be with somebody that is always happy and has that, hanging around with them probably will give you something that you need to change. And if you can't get it and you're trying and struggling so hard, it's because you're trying and struggling so hard. It's such, like you said, an oxymoron where, okay, I can get this thing, but I can't. It's just a great thing, but it's not. It's easy, but it's hard. It's the best thing in the world that you can do for yourself, but you don't have to, it's free. It's the easiest thing to get that you can do for yourself. So I would say to the people who are struggling, slow down, think about one step at a time. If you want that, go there. If you want to have that enlightenment, go someplace. See if it's there. If it's not, take your time to go someplace else. Give yourself a chance to get it. Because sometimes we have to just change. It might change us 180 degrees. But if we don't have ourselves open to it, like I said, we can't receive it if we're closed off to it. It's the weirdest thing in the world that you can close your mind. The drinking kept me from getting that enlightenment. And, other things that help us, like you said, Bill, he had to try to take mushrooms and LSD to try to get that enlightenment again. And it didn't work for him. He got depressed and got very anxious because he didn't get to that point that I got to either, that I know what he was thinking about. And then life happens. Things happen. But if you don't take that, he was willing to give up everything to do whatever it took and have that enlightenment in the hospital. He didn't get that again because I don't think he was as desperate as he was at that time. Now he thought, oh, I got it. Now I can, I'm going to write a book. Well, good. I'm glad he did. Thank God he did. But he never could get that height back again after he wrote that book and got it all out. And they said, okay, because I don't know if he could surrender that fully again to God until he could, until he passed. And I think Dr. Bob had it just as much, if not more than Bill, on a regular basis, because he would go to Dr. Bob and Dr. Bob would say, don't make it so complicated. Keep it simple. Why are you doing this? Don't upset what works. Let it go and keep it simple. They try to, say, oh, well, if we had all these investments, we could build this hospital and show these people and do all these things. And it's like, that's not the way to do it. It happened for you because you let it happen. You gave it freely of yourself, just like God does, and that's the best part of this, that you don't have to do anything to get it. Actually, if you don't do anything, you get it. Uh-oh, back to that thing again. I get love because I stop doing anything and everything, and it comes. And that's the best part, God is always there waiting for you to just stop and stop fighting the light. Because when you were an infant, you didn't fight anything. You were still in his light until you finally got to feeling your feel, oh, I'm feeling, I'm smelling, I'm burping, I'm doing it, whatever. And you get assimilated to life. And then you start getting away from that magnet, it's the farther away you get, the less pull you feel. And until you can just let everything go, as a little child, to have the faith that it's going to happen, then that magnet gets stronger and stronger until it just let go fully, and you can't get it separated again, So
right, Jesus once said, I'm paraphrasing, but you must be like little children, otherwise you won't enter the kingdom of heaven. Right? And what are kids? Kids they're dependent. Oh, hey, daddy, they're dependent on God for everything. We're dependent on our parents for food, water, clothing, shelter, everything. And to have that childlike innocence about us and play and playfulness.
Right.
Right? Right. One of the things, and I try not to take myself so seriously, and this is a big change, for me. So, I'm Mr. Serious. I'm a lawyer. I'm a very serious person. You need to take me seriously.
Yep.
It's like, man, what a joke, man.
Right.
Not to take ourselves so seriously.
Right.
This is part of being like a child too.
Yeah.
Right? And being present. That's another thing. Kids, they're present. When they're playing, they're there.
Right.
They're right there. They're not thinking about tomorrow. Not worried.
And they see that presence of your parent. Oh, they left the room. Ah, the world's ending. Oh my God. They come back. Oh, okay. How easy do we forget? I mean, it's just like that instant. And it's like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. What do you need for you to still know that it's all set? That's all, and it's the mindset, My mother left me in the store one time, and she went home. Since she had 7 kids, she went out shopping and left me in the store, forgot about me. And when she got home, unpacked the groceries and realized I wasn't there. She went back to the store. I was still playing in the same aisle with the toys and stuff. I didn't even know she was gone. It didn't bother me at all. It bothered her, It was like, I'm good. What? We're time to go now, And I didn't realize anything. It was fine. It's just how she perceived it, and I was still good, so it's always there. It's always good, it's always nice.
Peter, absolute pleasure, man.
Mine pleasure.
Wow.
I hope it helps somebody just to see this. I hope it's seen and it just helps one person, like you had said.
Yeah.
And let it ripple.
Yes. This is it, man. If it helps just one person come to the light, it will all be worth it. And I'm speaking it into existence right now that it will.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I agree.
God loves you, brother, and so do I.
Thank you.
Thank
Love
you so
too.
much.